Hi. All right. So we're going to grab our foam roller. And if you have a double ball, you could do some of these with the double ball, but you don't need to. You definitely need a roller. If you don't have a roller, you can use a water bottle. Those Nalgene's work really great, or just a pillow and a combination of a ball and a pillow if you have that. All right. So we're going to start with either or right on our neck. So you kind of use it as a pillow. You're going to go ahead and put it right at the base of the skull. You could use that double ball as well. Tuck the chin down slightly, and then we're just going to start shaking our head no really slowly. Right and left. So keep going. We're going to spend just a couple minutes here. Breathe. That double ball, you do that same thing. You might start a little lower. You're just going to breathe into it, move the head around. With the double ball, you can start rolling down the neck a little bit more. And same thing with the foam roller, you just don't have quite as much room to play with. So just kind of keep rolling down, lots of side to side. Keep going. I like to do my upper neck with the foam roller. I can really get either side of my vertebrae up there, that cervical, those upper trapezius muscles that attach right at the occipital bone. So the base of the skull. Keep breathing, just move around. This is your freestyle time. Once you kind of get to the base of the neck, you're just gonna kind of keep walking yourself back. Try not to hit anything. And we'll end up in our thoracic. So you're basically just going to continue down your neck. Continue down, kind of that base of the top of the shoulders. This is my favorite spot for the double ball. If you have that one, right as you finish your neck, right at the base of the cervical to thoracic connection there, that's the best. Just because those bones are a little bit bigger and it's easier to get either side of your vertebra. We are going to continue to move down until this roller or ball, set of balls, gets to in between your shoulder blades. So now we're moving into our thoracic spine. We started with our cervical spine. And my goal with the rest of this is just to start opening up my chest. So extension through the spine. Try to spend as much time as you can opening up and breathing. You can support your head as much as you need to. You can open up those elbows to stretch out your chest, or you can just go ahead and reach over the head. Let that head hang and breathe. This is your time to move around. I like side bends. I like to pick my hips up and down. Hips up, drive your head, elbows open towards the floor at the same time. Also make sure you're moving up and down just slightly. You don't want to go anywhere below the ribs. So that cervical spine area is where we're supposed to have the most mobility in our back. So your cervical and your lumbar spine are more stable joints, and your areas, right? There are all lots of joints within that area. And that thoracic through that middle, that's your mobile part. So we want lots of flexion, lots of extension, and lots of rotation. All right, we're slowly going to come up out of this. And we're just going to go right ahead into a few of those motions. So cervical extension is what we're going to start with. So we're going to go hands on the rollers. If you don't have a roller, you can just slide your arms out. Make sure those hips stay over the knees or even a little bit behind the knees. Try not to go too much further forward. So take that big inhale. Exhale, roll and push the chest down. Inhale, back up. Exhale, roll. Try to keep that lumbar spine, that low back, nice and neutral. So don't try to arch the low back very much. That one stays nice and sturdy, stable, right? Let's go for one more. All right, now we're gonna bring that foam roller to our side. Okay, we're in tabletop. I'm gonna bring my right arm across my body to my left side, and that's where my foam roller is. Vice versa, if you're on the other side, I'm going to exhale, slide my arm out, try to get that shoulder to the floor, and inhale back up. Exhale out, inhale up, keep it going. Nice deep breath. One more. All right, stay in the same position. Go back to tabletop. Now, same hand is on the same side of the roller. So left hand, left side of my body. Fingertips face away from the midline. And I'm going to go ahead and roll my arm out to the side 90 degrees. And at the same time, pull my torso and shoulder away from my fingertips. I inhale back up. Exhale out. Open the chest, the shoulders, those pec muscles that get really tight in that hunched over position. One breath each movement. Last one for 5. All right, we're going to go ahead and switch sides. So it's going to be on the right side of your body or vice versa. We're going to start across. So cross over, and we're going to slide out, shoulder towards the floor, and inhale up. One breath each. As much rotation as you can through that mid back. All right, we're moving out to our pec stretch, pec opener. Fingertips face away from your midline. Reach out, pull the shoulder away from the wrist. Inhale back up and out. One more. And rest. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move to our hips a little bit. So we're gonna start with the roller. We're gonna go ahead and put our feet on the roller. You don't have to do this, but it gives you a little bit more stability work through that core and glutes. So we're just gonna start with some bridge roll-ups. So the goal here is spinal flexion. So I'm gonna tuck my tailbone towards my ribs and continue rolling up until your bridge. So bridge glutes are active, press to the sky and extension. Ribs are tucked down nice and tight. There's no flare, and that low back is nice and neutral. I'm gonna start at the top and roll slowly, one vertebrae at a time until your tailbone rests. Let's keep it going. Tuck and roll. Lift top. Stick it. Don't let that belly arch, or I guess, yeah, that's right. The low back arch. Tuck and roll. Ribs flare. We never want the ribs to flare. Think about that. Tuck and roll. You should feel lots of core engagement, lots of glute engagement at the top. If you are feeling low back pain doing this, probably means that you're arching your back at the top. We also want to keep our heels close to us. So if you're too far away, that can get a little stressful on the hamstrings. I'm on that last one and roll it down. All right, one more active motion here. We're gonna grab that roller and we're gonna squeeze it between our thighs, right above our knees. Walk those feet decently narrow and push your knees together. Should feel the inner thighs working. We're gonna go ahead and push those hips up. Again, nice flat back. Lift, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the knees. And we're gonna hold it. Squeeze those knees together. Adduction towards the midline. Ribs are pulled down. Glutes are active. Keep squeezing. 3, 2, 1. Roll it down slowly. Keep that squeeze between the knees. We're gonna lift the feet off the ground now, and we're gonna do some internal rotation at the hip. So knees are together. Just gonna brace my core, push my low back down, and I'm gonna separate my feet and bring them back together. So separate, bring them back together. So at the hip joint, your femur is rotating internally doing this exercise. Not a movement we do very much unless we practice it intentionally, but it really helps strengthen the whole hip joint. Keep that low back pushed down. If you need a little bit more relief, pull the knees closer into the chest. If you want a little bit more core activation, you can go ahead and drop those knees further away from the midline. Last 2. All right, let's bring those feet back down. All right, foam roller is gonna finish under the hips. Again, optional. You don't have to do this. Just gives you a little bit more release through that lumbar spine, so that decompression. Knees are bent. You're gonna walk your feet nice and wide. We're gonna let both knees fall towards the right and both knees fall towards the left. Just windshield wipe them back and forth. Breathe deep into that internal and external rotation. Make sure that roller stays on your tailbone or sacrum area. It's not on the muscle of your low back. Again, you can always take the roller off and just do this on the floor if this is too intense. Go one more. Make sure you even your sides. You'll make your way back. You'll walk your feet back towards each other. Lift those hips up and go ahead and take that roller out. All right, we're gonna finish with our hip flexor stretch flipped over. So we're gonna combine a down dog to a deep lunge. So we're gonna start in our down dog position. If you want, you can always go to a child's pose instead. So down dog, we're gonna breathe, lift those hips up, push your chest towards your thighs, walk those heels out a little bit. Before we start our lunge series, let's go ahead and lift those heels up and push them back down. One more time, lift as high as you can and push them down as far as you can. All right, we're gonna shift to plank, bring our right foot to the outside of the right hand. Hanging out. We're gonna drop our torso as low as we can for 3 deep breaths. You can drop your back knee to the ground as well if that feels better. All right, you can stay low, you can come back up high. We're gonna add a rotation. So right arm to the sky. Again, back heel is, or knee is lifted or not. All right, back knee is gonna go to the floor. We're gonna sweep that arm all the way back. And then I'm just gonna roll my hip towards the floor as my pelvis is facing the wall now. So you should feel a stretch through the side here. One more big breath. All right, sweep that arm all the way back. We're gonna tuck that toe, push back to down dog or child's pose. Hang out again for a little bit. Bend and straighten those legs a few times. And let's go ahead and bring that left leg to the outside of the left hand. Get yourself settled, drop that back knee if you need to. We're gonna drop our torso as far to the floor as we can. 3 deep breaths. Deep breaths, the goal is to keep them as long as you can. If you're having trouble breathing into these positions, you should probably stay longer than 3 breaths. All right, we're coming up or staying down and adding that nice rotation to the sky. Drop that knee. I like to put the top of my foot down. I'm gonna just let that arm sweep all the way, and then I'm just gonna sing and try to push my torso and hips facing that way so this elbow is nice and locked out. Let that hip sink, that bottom hip sink towards the floor. All right, sweep that arm back up. Finish up in that down dog one more time. I'm gonna have you walk your feet a little wider. Walk your hands a little closer to your feet. Again, just kind of shake it out a little bit. And then we're gonna do some ankle reaches to finish this up. So right hand towards left ankle. On the inhale, you're gonna come forward a little bit. And on the exhale, you're gonna push and reach. Inhale, exhale, push off that hand, really reach and try to fold yourself as much as you can. It could just be a tap. Maybe you don't grab on. And you can bend your knees as much as you feel comfortable. And let's go for the last one. All right, walk those hands back to the feet. Bend those knees. You can heel toe your feet a little bit narrow if that's more comfortable. Bend those knees slightly, and we're just gonna ragdoll, shake it out. Lengthen that spine, make sure your head is relaxed. And we're gonna drop those arms. Keep the knees bent and spinal roll really slow. Flexion through the spine again. Flexion, flexion. Get those hips, the lumbar, the thoracic, all the way up to that cervical. We're gonna open up our chest, palms face forward, let our head lift to the sky. Big breath. Go ahead and roll it on up. All right, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you. See you next time.